Macros. What are macros? Should you be counting macros or calories? What will your macros look like based on your goal? All of those good things. That's what we're about to get into. My name is Sarah. I'm a personal trainer at Commit Fit and Fit Kid Athletics, and we have helped tons and tons of people learn how to count their macros for their goals and actually see the results they're looking for, whether it's weight loss, leaning out in a fat loss phase, or gaining some lean muscle. So let's get into it. Macros. What are macronutrients? Well, there are protein, carbs, and fat. That's it. Those are the three macronutrients. And when it comes down to counting either macros or calories, they're actually the same thing. 1 gram of protein is 4 calories, 1 gram of carbs is 4 calories, and 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. So if you have 100 grams of protein, that's 400 calories. So when we give you a macro goal, right, we don't want you to worry so much about the calories, because if you're hitting the macros, you're already hitting the calories. They're one and the same. How do we determine your macros? Well, it depends on a few things. Number one, your goal. If your goal is lean muscle gain, you're gonna need to be in a calorie surplus, which means we're gonna have to make sure that your macros have high enough protein to build new muscle, high enough carbs to sustain the energy it's gonna take for your workouts to build that muscle, and fat low enough where your focus is more on building muscle than storing fat. If your goal is more along the lines of weight or fat loss, then we're gonna need to make sure that you are in a calorie deficit. But it's not always that simple, because a lot of time it depends on where you're starting too. So if you're way overeating and you have a weight loss goal, we can take your macros down and you'll probably see some progress pretty quick. But if you've been under eating for a while, your metabolism has likely slowed down, which means if we drop it more, it's not going to do anything because your metabolism is not really working. So in that case, we set your macros a little bit higher so we can get your calories up, kickstart your metabolism again, and then we can drop so you can see some of that weight or fat loss progress that you're looking for. When you start with us with a custom plan, we analyze all of that, okay? So we'll take a look at the things that you're currently eating, we'll take a look at your goal, and we'll see what kind of progress you've already been seeing or not seeing, and we'll set your macros from there. Typically, when we analyze people's nutrition and where they're currently at, we see that protein is too low, fat is too high, and carbs are kind of all over the place. For instance, someone who's 5'7", 170 pounds, looking for some fat loss, normal metabolism, no underlying medical conditions or medications that are messing with their calorie burn like that, we would set somebody like that at about 150 grams carbs, 120 grams protein, 45-ish grams of fat, which ends up being somewhere around 1,400 calories to start. It's totally different person to person. So especially when you're on one of our custom plans, we're checking in with you all the time. And if you're noticing you're super hungry, your energy sucks, your workouts are not going well because you feel like dead inside, then we will help you. You get your macro goal and you look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, that protein is so high. How am I ever gonna get that much protein? Or, oh my gosh, my fat is already so high, how am I gonna get that lower? These are the best two ways to combat that. Number one, be prepared. It's the not fun part of it, but it's so necessary. And number two, get really, really good at reading labels and understand exactly what you're eating. So being prepared. It's not always fun, but it does make you a lot more precise. It makes you ready for the day, and it exponentially increases your chances of hitting your macros, like you should. Aim to log all your food tonight for the next day. That way, when you wake up in the morning, you know you have all your food ready to go, they all fit your macros, bing, bang, boom, done, and you've hit it. The three things you should really pay attention to when you're reading labels and getting yourself prepared to hit your macros are: number one, protein content. Make sure it's got the protein that you're looking for. Number two, sugar content. Make sure it's not loaded with extra sugar. And number three, fat content. Make sure that there's not a whole bunch of fat hiding in something that you didn't realize that's causing your fat grams to go over. When you're trying to raise your protein, you have to be really, really intentional about what you're eating. You should be getting at least 20 to 25 grams of protein per meal, and then choosing snacks that are also protein focused. And same goes for fat. Fat adds up really quick, right? We said 1 gram of fat is 9 calories, whereas protein and carbs are each 4 calories. So if you have 3 grams of fat here, 3 grams of fat there, that doesn't seem like a whole lot, but then when you see it at the end of the day and then you realize at dinner you actually had 15 grams of fat Well, now it's just added up, and now all of a sudden, before you know it, you're at 80 grams of fat and you should be at 45. That's another one that it's super important to read the labels and make sure that you know what you're putting into your body. That's like the kind of unfun part of macro counting, right? Like that's the part that you have to do to make sure that you're being precise. So the fun part of macro counting is that it really kind of allows you to eat things that you love. So if you want to make sure that you can have some chocolate at the end of the day, every single day, cool. That's another reason it's good to plan ahead. You can plan to have that chocolate at the end of the day and work the rest of your way around it so that you have enough macros and calories left over at the end of the day to have that chocolate and not feel guilty about it. If you're going to a birthday party, or it's your kid's birthday, or you have date night, whatever it is, you can work that stuff in ahead of time and then focus the rest of your day's macros around that fun stuff that you want to do. But here's the thing. If you are consistently working out and you're not seeing progress, then it is very likely that that is due to your nutrition. Granted that there's no other underlying things going on that would affect that. Okay, getting your nutrition in check is going to be your next step in the next set of progress that you're going to make. This is something we do with all of our online programs. When you get a custom course, we're gonna analyze your nutrition, where you're at, we're gonna figure out where your nutrition needs to be, and then we're gonna write an exercise plan that fits with that nutrition. And not only that, but we're gonna coach you through it too. So when you're sitting there like, man, I can't get my protein high enough, we're there to help you say, okay, tweak this, tweak that, tweak this, and show you the ropes. Get you over some of those mental blocks that are preventing you from getting it done, and really coach you through every step of the way. So if that's you, if you're sitting there thinking like, I'm doing all these things, nothing's happening the way that I want it to, and you just kind of want to learn more about what we do and how we could help you with that, click the link and we'll be able to reach out, see what's going on, and see if we have a plan or can write a custom plan that is going to help you get to the next level.